He played on the greatest team ever assembled, the Chicago Bulls. He was an all-star, 3 rings. B.J. Armstrong is now an agent. Interesting today you drop on by, and we love having you, B.J., because the Knicks decided to blow things up again. Right. Not a big fan of that organization, but they hired Leon Rose, who is a well-respected community builder, very good relationship guy. He worked at CAA, which represents me. I make a call. They're like, good dude. What do you make of the trend to have agents run teams? Golden State does it.
Well, yeah, I think it is. It's a trend that's going on now in the business, and it's real funny because I was one of the first to come from the other side as an executive to the agent side, and now you're seeing the agents go to the other side. You know, I worked with Bob Myers there at Wasserman. I worked with Rob Pelinka. Now Arn Tellem is there in Detroit.
Yeah.
I think it's good. I think it's good for the business. And what it says about the business now is compared to yesteryear is the importance of people skills that you have to have in the business. And most of these agents are dealing with these problems behind the scenes, right? The teams get them for 2 hours or so. And then the other 22 hours, the agents are actually dealing with the problems. And the most important thing that I kind of learned when I came over to this side is, you know, I get a chance to see these kids up close in their homes, in their environments. And I think the agents now have an advantage. They have an advantage that they're actually seeing the players up close firsthand. And I think, you know, with Leon and these people, they'll go there and they'll do a good job. But I think Bob Myers and being an agent like Rob Pelinka, I think it prepares you for the task at hand because it's a different business. And the players today, you know, it's a different time. And I think having the people skills to deal with this day in and day out is something that you kind of do every day as an agent.
If you were representing Andrew Wiggins, I like the move from a losing culture in Minnesota to a winning culture. Let's say you represent Andrew Wiggins, and now you have to sell him, or do you, on the fact that you're going to be the third scorer on many nights. What would it be like to represent Andrew Wiggins? Do you think his agent called him and he wanted to go from like a 2 to a 3 in Golden State?
Well, I think the formula for the NBA and the formula for success will always be the same since 1946, from you know, when the NBA started. And the formula is this: star players, great players have to be great. That's a fact. But then the role players have to play their role great. I think the move from Minnesota to Golden State for Andrew Wiggins will be very important from this regard. He will be now put in his right role. He will be forced to be the third option. And when he has those nights when he plays well and he looks like the superstar athlete and the talent that he is, that's a bonus. But Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, they are consistently will play the game at a high level, game in and game out. Where Andrew Wiggins, now we're not dependent on him to play at a superstar level, game in and game out. But when he does, that will be an added bonus. So I think he will be in his right role. I think he will embrace that. And, you know, look, in this league, when you say you're a superstar or you're put in that role, you have to be an exceptional talent.
For 78 of 82 games.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I think he will be in his right role. I think he will embrace that role. And I think it will be a great opportunity for him to be the player that he always, you know, should have been when he first came in the league. He is a star athlete. He is a terrific talent.
Not an alpha.
But he's not the guy that's going to go in and night out and go and get you those 78 out of 82 games where he's going to play at that level. That's just not his personality.
B.J. Armstrong, an agent, a former 3 rings with the Bulls, the best team, in my opinion, in the history of basketball, also an all-star, and a former Iowa Hawkeye. Got to say that.
Oh, yes.
For the Hawkeyes.
Go Hawkeyes.
And then the Big Ten. Big Ten's had a very interesting year, by the way, in basketball. So Marcus Morris, I always feel like the trading deadline, we wait for the splash.
Yes.
But it's really about fine-tuning. Milwaukee gets Marvin Williams, a 3-and-D guy.
Yes.
Makes him even deeper. Now Marcus Morris goes to the Clippers. My takeaway on this is now they got a 4th guy they can throw at LeBron. Like, I think this is why the Lakers wanted him, because they knew it. So when I watch Marcus Morris go to the Clippers, all I can think of is LeBron. Am I wrong on that?
No, you're absolutely right. And what they picked up was a pro. This guy's a true professional. And when you're playing in a 7-game series, you don't want to have time to figure out as a coach or a staff if your guy is ready. Marcus Morris is a professional. And he doesn't have to play well on the offensive end to make a contribution to winning.
That's right.
That's what I love most about.
Because they got scores over there.
They have scores, but they have a team that's built, Colin and I've been saying this since day one. They're built around two things. They're built around talent, and they're built around toughness. They embody everything that Doc Rivers is as a player, as a former player, and he is as a coach. He wants tough people around him. He wants people that's going to defend. He wants to be able to grind the game out. And if you're going to win in the playoffs, you want to have a very simple formula. We're going to go out and shut you down on the defensive end. And they're going to attack the game as if the game is always 0-0. If we don't score and you don't score, we're still in the game. And that's what I love most about how this team has been constructed. They're constructed around we can get defensive stops.
And what I also like, it's grown-ups. Paul George, Lou Williams.
Yes.
I got Kawhi Leonard. I got Marcus Morris. This is a man's league, as you know this.
Yes.
It is a man's league. And it's these guys that have been in weight rooms in the NBA for 7 years, and the NBA refs swallow their whistles in May and April. They do. This is what they do.
Yeah.
And guess what? The young college players get pushed around, and nobody calls it. This Clipper team's just got another tough dude that can lock you up and push you around. Now, you run the Sixers.
Right.
I'm a Simmons guy because I think he gets the ball to three shooters.
Yes.
Embiid's talented, a little too social media for me, and injuries. And they're not working. What do you do? How long do you let this puppy bake in Philadelphia? Because, BJ, I look at their first 7. They are massively underperforming. This thing is not working. What do you do?
Well, I think you can't push the panic there because they have what every team is trying to get. They have talent. Joel Embiid is an incredible talent. Now, the thing about Joel Embiid, he's not playing consistently at the level that we've all come to expect from him. And that's kind of disappointing because Joel Embiid, without question, should be a top 5 player in this league, without question. And then you have Ben Simmons, who is another very, very talented player. He has size, he has basketball IQ, he can do a lot of different things. Now, the one thing that they have been missing is what we call a distributor or a secondary ball handler that gets them into play. Because you're going to need that secondary player or that secondary guard to initiate offense and do the things. They've really struggled with being able to control the game from an offensive perspective. And that's been their biggest downfall. Now, they are big. They are athletic. When the game slows down, I think this team will play and perform much better in the playoffs. But right now, during the regular season, they struggle because they can't manage the game. Time and score is of the essence. That's why I've always said, Ben Simmons is a terrific player. But being able to manage the game when there's time and score, especially during the regular season, is very difficult. And that's where they're missing. That's what they're missing most, in my humble opinion. But because they are big, there will be less possessions in the playoffs. I still think they'll be okay once they get to playoff basketball.
By the way, Lakers good enough today. I didn't like the trade of Kyle Kuzma. I kept hearing about it. I said, listen, man, this is an old roster. You got to give me somebody who gives me 26 minutes a night. Joey went to a game last week, and Kyle does add some juice. He adds some energy. He's a young kid. I don't think he's a star. He's kind of – I think it's sometimes hard for a young player to play with LeBron. I don't blame all of Kuzma's slight erosion this year on him. LeBron demands a lot. But are the Lakers, as they're constituted this morning, good enough to win the title?
Well, absolutely. They're good enough to win. You look at their roster. They have the best record in the league. So you have to look at what they've done. You are who you are. And the Lakers have proven that they are a very good team, and they're one of the top, let's just say conservatively speaking, they're one of the top 4 or 5 teams in the NBA.
Top 4, I buy.
The top 4 teams. Now, once it gets to the playoff times, we'll find out when you get to the second season if they're good enough to win the last game of the season. And I think that's what we're talking about here with their team. But going back to Kyle Kuzma, I think the Lakers were correct in keeping Kyle because you have to invest into your future. Kyle Kuzma is the one player that you can look at and say, you know what? He can be there beyond what we're doing in the short term, which is going for championships. They can move on and try to build something in the future if they choose to do that as well.
Yeah, he and Anthony Davis are really, that is their youth movement. It ends right there. B.J. Armstrong, always great to have you on the show.
Thank you so much.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.